All right, now let's take you back to our top story. We are in conversation with political analyst Khanyi Magubane, and we of course discussing the postponement of suspended ANC Secretary General Ace Magashule's asbestos corruption case. Khanyi, as we were talking, of course we've established that Ace Magashule, after that interview with journalists, is saying that once he is nominated, he will definitely be accepting that nomination. Post the 55th conference in December, will Magashule continue to enjoy the support of the ANC in this process he's currently going through right now?
I think those are the key and pertinent issues that we have to discuss, Unati, because for starters, we have an ethics committee within the ANC that is supposed to deal with such issues, to uphold the integrity and the ethics of this organization. And in that press briefing that he did, flanked there by his comrade in arms, Khanyi House, we saw a very defiant Ace Magashule. And if we do see him go ahead and running for a position, he will not, in essence, be able to act in that position because he's still a suspended member of, the Congress of the ANC, and he's vacated his seat in the SG's office for quite a long time. And until that suspension is uplifted, it would go against the very constitution of the ANC for him to start actively participating in his new position, whatever capacity he's, elected to. But furthermore, the question, and the most important question, Unati, is the ANC going to allow this to happen under its watch? Because then it would mean that rogue leaders en masse are going to start making their way to the highest ranks of the ANC, leaders who have no regard for not just the law, but for the organizational law that the ANC has set for itself through its constitution. So we're seeing a defiant Ace right now, almost saying that nothing is going to stop me from getting to that top seat. And the question is, what is driving Ace Magashule to want that top seat more than anything? Is it an insatiable desire for power, or does he honestly believe that he is the next best candidate to put the ANC forward? The ANC continues, unfortunately, to become more and more distant from the constituents that they've always enjoyed support from. As these issues are playing out in the public eye, people are watching. And the question is, when an ordinary South African goes to the ballots during the elections after waiting hours in the queue, and they open the ballot and they see Ace Magashule's picture next to the ANC, will they want to cast their vote there? That is the question, and that is what it boils down to. Because without the support of the constituent, the ANC must prepare itself to occupy the opposition benches.
And just on that point, just talking about winning the trust of the constituents, I mean, what we are seeing currently in KZN playing out as they are divided just by nominating for the national leader. Talk to us about this three-way split that we are currently seeing as it relates to that top position of the ANC. And I'm talking here about Cyril Ramaphosa, of course, Willem Kize, and Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma.
Well, these are obviously the times that such would happen. We know that closer to elective conferences, there are many political wranglings that take place. And this three-way split is nothing new. It always happens before elections of this nature, before elective conferences for a number of leaders to come out quite prominently. And this will not be the first time that Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma comes out quite prominently. Even in the last elective conference, she was one of the four runners, and she was in Titi Mabuza's slate. And unfortunately, she didn't make it to the top positions that she wanted. And if, for instance, she should win a top 6 position, it is my hope that it won't be a Deputy Secretary General position, but in the very least will be a president or a deputy president position, because the ANC itself also has a responsibility to start showing itself as a non-sexist and non-partisan party that has confidence in both male and female leadership. But the most important question here, Unati, is the caliber of the leaders that we are talking about. Cyril Ramaphosa, Ubaba Mkhize, Umamu Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, all of them, have been in politics for a long, long time. The president has the Phala Gate scandal that's still facing him. We know that Ubaba Mkhize had to fall on his sword after the whole digital vibes, scandal. And Umamu Dlamini, I would say for all intents and purposes, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma is the least of the three who has the least amount of scandals attached to her name. And so we just want to know, as the ordinary South Africans, what is the ANC planning to do in terms of putting forward candidates that the constituent will have confidence in voting for?
And again, what will the South African public think when time and time again we have ANC leaders who have been implicated in some form or another saying, yes, I will be putting my hand up for nomination, despite all of these allegations against me? I mean, doesn't that put somewhat of a dark cloud, not only on these individuals themselves, but also in the party?
Absolutely. What we are seeing right now happening, Unathi, is the same leaders rotating themselves in these top positions who've been tainted by one kind of a scandal or another. And they are stuck in their own world, because if they had to get perspective from a constituent's point of view, then they would know that this doesn't make for good optics. And if the ANC thinks that it will continue to enjoy the same amount of support amongst the people who are on the ground, simply by just going through the same election campaigning, going for the same promises, the homes, the houses, the roads, the water, that narrative doesn't work anymore. People are smarter now than they were in 1994 when they fell for some of those promises. Now the ANC actually has to put something of substance on the table in terms of, this is the person that we are putting forward. And the reasons can't be because they've been in the ANC for 20, 30 years. If that individual has been tainted, I mean, we look at the provincial provinces, Unathi, and the provincial conferences that we've just come out of. In the Eastern Cape, in Mpumalanga, in some of the provinces, some of the people who stood up for top positions were facing murder, fraud, corruption, all kinds of serious crimes against them, and yet they saw themselves fit to run for the ANC. So are we saying that the ANC is dwindling into a party of criminals? I think that is a picture that's starting to emerge, and it should worry the ANC that time and time again, the people that take the front position are people who are compromised, are people who are facing very serious criminal cases against them.
Khanyi, thank you so much. Let's leave it there for now. Always a pleasure having you in the show. All right, that was political analyst Khanyi Magubane, of course, giving us her insights in terms of what lies ahead for Ace Magashule, and of course giving us the running time, to that elective conference of the ANC in December.